Have you ever felt like God gave you a promise, but then led you straight into the wilderness? You prayed, you obeyed, you believed, and instead of breakthrough you found delay. But here's the truth we often forget. Delay is not denial. In fact, the wilderness might be where God is preparing your destiny. Let's walk with Moses and discover what God's delays really mean. Before Moses ever parted a sea, before he ever stood before Pharaoh, he was a shepherd in the desert. After fleeing Egypt, he spent 40 years in Midian. Not leading people, but leading sheep. And just when it looked like his life had faded into obscurity, God shows up in a burning bush. Exodus 3 verse 12, God said, "I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you." Moses had questions. He had doubts. But God had an answer. "I will be with you." That was the sign. Not a miracle, not a shortcut, not a fast forward, but presence in the process. So why the delay? Why the desert? Because the wilderness isn't punishment, it's preparation. Deuteronomy 8 verse 2 says, "Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness, to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or not." God delays what you desire, to develop what you need. Moses needed more than passion. He needed patience. He needed to know God's voice. He needed to learn how to lead from brokenness, not just boldness. The wilderness stripped away Egypt from Moses, so he could carry heaven to Pharaoh. Even after Moses returned to Egypt, even after the signs and wonders, even after the Red Sea parted, God didn't take Israel the fastest route to Canaan. Exodus 13 verses 17 to 18. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country. Though that was shorter, so God led the people around by the desert road. Because God is more concerned with who you're becoming than where you're going. The desert wasn't the end, it was the passage to the promise. So what about you? Maybe you're waiting on healing, on direction, on breakthrough, and you're tempted to believe the silence means God has changed his mind. But let this story remind you, God called Moses before Pharaoh ever heard his name. God was working in the desert before anyone saw a miracle, and God is still working in your delay, even when you can't see the destination. If God has spoken it, he will fulfill it. His "not yet" is not a no. His silence is not his absence. And your wilderness is not a waste. You may feel hidden, but God is shaping you. You may feel stuck, but God is strengthening you. The same God who told Moses, "I will be with you," is speaking the same over your life today. So hold on, walk forward, and trust this truth. Delays are not denials. They are divine developments. You were never forgotten. You were being formed. If this encouraged you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this message with someone in a waiting season. Because God's timing is perfect, and your wilderness might just be the beginning of your calling.